All right, game two between Ghazghkull and MarsBar, and it was Ghazghkull, wasn't it, that took the first game, our Zerg player, and I've got the oh, what? No, wait, what am I doing? Oh, look, I'm swapping them. I didn't mean to be swapping them. What I'm meant to be doing was zooming out. I didn't know you could do that. I can swap the names, but it doesn't swap the. Oh, it just swaps the position. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So Ghazghkull took the first game, and to be honest, it was a little uneventful, with both players just kind of staying at home, and then throwing the odd punch at the other person. Very little harassment happening, and very little map presence from either player really. Both of them just sort of content to just kind of park it up and then occasionally a click into their opponent's base, which is ideally avoided, especially against the Terran, because what you generally find is the base is pretty well defended, quite hard to get into, and the game itself is designed, the maps tend to be designed in a way that it is expensive to push into someone's main base. You've got to squeeze through a narrow ramp, you've got to squeeze uphill where you don't have vision, all of those types of things. So it's a difficult way to play, rather than playing a game where you try and harass your opponent, stymie their economy early on, and get higher tech units that can break that front open or can circumvent it, like Mutalisks, for example, fly around the back. It's a pretty quick third from Ghazghkull. Here we are, not quite at the 3-minute mark with the third coming down. I like that. Again, we've got these idle larvae though hanging about, and in these early stages of the game you don't really have that much else to do but just turn those larvae into things really quickly. I know that can kind of seem picky, but you'd be surprised at just how much the little differences build up over time. The few seconds, oh, don't stand and fight a queen, mate. No, don't do that. Just those little differences of how quickly you were on it, turning the larva into stuff, how quickly you were on it, building the SCV from the command center the moment it finished. All of those little differences do come together and make the difference, make quite a pronounced difference ultimately. This fella is never going to make it home. He's had a bad time there, but what he has done is obtained vision of the third, confirmed that exists, and got a quick kind of eye, assuming Mars was looking at how many units and what type of units were on the map for the Zerg player. So Ghazghkull slightly ahead in supply, which is kind of what you expect really. You expect that from a Zerg. Tech wise, on this side of the map, 3 factories, so that's a clear indicator that somebody wants to play mech, so you'd kind of expect tech labs to be built on these factories pretty shortly. It's blue flame being researched, but I don't see any Hellions in production. So 3 factories, you could be building Hellions 3 at a time, and blue flame Hellions are an effective unit. That they'll chew through Zerglings like they're not there. They'll kill workers. 4 Hellions, they're just one-shot workers, and with the splash damage they can do horrific damage to a worker line very quickly indeed. What they're not good at is killing roaches though, and this is a pretty heavy roach composition. So while in principle I like blue flame Hellions, I don't like it as a choice against roaches. So what I'd love to see is a starport. I'd love to see a medevac and these blue flame Hellions dropped into here so they can just run in and just kill this worker line completely. That's the use for them. Alternatively, drop Marines into the main base, cause a distraction, and then just walk the Hellions into the third, into the natural, when the Zerg army responds. So it's beginning to look a little ominous for MarsBar, because there just isn't that much army here. These, yeah, that is a fair amount of Hellions, but they'll just die to these roaches, because the roaches are armored. Hellions are really good against light, and roaches are the opposite of that. So this is a very squishy army indeed. So even though the army supplies are not well, actually they are quite different, 81 to 68. But they're not, it's not a crazy army advantage in terms of supply. In terms of composition, this Terran army will melt against that number of roaches. It'll just melt. And obviously, there isn't much that shoots up either. So with the Mutalisks in the mix to kind of hose down damage on these Hellions, it would just be nasty. Now, the Marine count isn't bad, but upgrades-wise, the only upgrade is Blue Flame. So the Marines have no upgrades whatsoever. Now this is becoming an awkward amount of Hellions. I don't think there's ever a time when that's an appropriate number of Hellions. I've never seen Hellions in that number. Therefore, I've never seen Hellions used effectively in that number. It may be that you reach some sort of magic threshold at which Blue Flame Hellions become awesome, but I think it's awfully unlikely. So yeah, let's sit back and watch what happens when these Hellions come in here. So they're going to have a go. Like, look how long it takes them even just to kill the Queen. Hellions are terrible at killing buildings. They're terrible at killing armored stuff. And as expected, really, they just die. Had the Hellions run to this kind of location, all of the workers would be dead, at least. What Hellions are is very, very fast. So they would one-shot these workers, and then you could run to here and one-shot these ones. As it is, though, all of the Hellions are dead. And there's just nothing that can fight this now. The handful of Marines, Widowmines could be a useful choice here, but you're going to need more than 2 of them. The Banshee isn't going to get anything done at all. It doesn't have cloak. The Thor is useful, and maybe with a big worker pool and a lot of repair, it could kill quite a number of these units. But like, the supply just says it all. There's 114 army supply killing. Very little. The cloak Banshees are going to snipe a base here, but they need to be here. They need to be protecting your base, not on the other side of the map, and they're just not. The Widowmine never gets burrowed, just gets shut down. That Banshee dies pretty quickly, and it looks like it's just going to be 2-0 with MarsBar not quite having enough to do the business.